So I just install bundler. The next thing is actually called bundler name. Let's call it a name. We'll name it don't think. So I hope this will work. Yeah, so I'm on this directory. So it create the necessary files. So similar to a Rails project, this is also with a structure. Okay, so you see that it generate when you run it for the first time, it asks you, do you want to use RSpec or test? Do you want to include license file? You see, it's really convenient. Now you create a gem and people can contribute because you have the license and the code of conduct on it. So let's look at this gem right now. It doesn't do anything. So, but there's this structure. Okay, we'll walk through each one of them. When you create a gem, it's very important to have a version, because after you publish on the internet, someone will use that version 1.1.2 and you make changes. You should not put the code in the same version number, right? You increase the version number and you publish again and people say, oh, there's updates on that. Sometimes if there's a problem with a version, you don't want people to use it, you can purge the version. You can take it down from the Ruby Gems website. When you publish, it's there, but you can take it down. But don't ever put the same code in the previous version, because it violates the rule of predictability. All right. So here, this gem create a module. Now, of course, to avoid you creating a user class, that will be the same as the user class in a different project, right? You have to use namespace. So similar in Java, you do this all the time. So module, let's say don't think here. And I have the spec files prepared for me, right? So that's good. I have an empty gem. So how do I build a gem? Let's say if I want to build this. Let's try to build this right now. Actually, I have to create a new. Let me just close this one. Create a new tab. It's this way. So we can stay in the same. No. What week is that? 8. Really. Okay, let's go back to this guy. Again, I love RVM because it's set up all that easy for me. So with rake, bundle exact rake. Okay, so we just do bundle gem, and then don't think, right? Next is we have to do bundle install to install some of the related gems. Just a little bit. It includes rake. That's why just now if I call it, it's not there. And I'll show you the directory substructure here. Now we can now call rake t, which is to display the task that it's been loaded. This rake t, what it does is it finds a rake file just like makefile, right, in the current directory, and then load these gems, and they provide us these tasks. So you can actually, when you're ready, you can do rake build, and that will build the file. We have an empty gem right now, so let's see what it's complaining. Oh, we have to provide a description in this gem spec. So when we're ready, we will change some of this description. For example, a summary of this gem is that we say, say something wise, right? So a short summary will be say something clever, right? And in here, it's a longer description, so I'm just gonna change it to, maybe I'll just remove the word to do because it doesn't, right? Okay. So I'll run rake again. I still have one more to do here. All right. Rake build. Rake build. One more to do. It's not a URL. So where is it? Here, homepage. Make it. It's a website. Great. So it's like that. But our gem is quite useless right now. So there, we're going to test drive this as well. So we learned how to do test. I'm going to show you a little cooler. We use guard. I'll add a few gem to help make my life easier when I write a gem. When I develop just gem. Okay. So go to a gem file. Similar to Rails, this project is supported by, we use bundle. So bundle will say, oh, don't put your gem in here. You can, it's no problem. But there's a different file. When you build a gem, put it in gem spec. No problem. But when I go to gem spec, go down here, and we add guard rspec. Guard means it's just gonna check my code if it changes. It will rerun the test for me. So that's convenient. What else do I need? Let me check note real quick. I think that's all. So I bundle, it checks gem file, and then it will check this don't think.rspec file. Excellent. So some of you, if you like writing tests, you might use our guard. So bundle exec guard. When you use any new use guard, you just need to start. You have to create a guard file. So I'll do that. In this guard file, it includes the syntax to be smart enough to auto refresh my code. So let's commit everything here. Let's commit everything here. Setup. First commit. Next up, I can actually now run bundle exec guard, right? And go into spec. If I save any file in this spec or lib folder, my test will be run. So check this out, right? If I save this module, it run. I save don't think.rb. It automatically run don't think rspec, and I'm failing a test here, right? Let's make something useful. It has a version number. Sure, this one passed. Something useful here, expect false. So I'm going to call it, let's say, we have to define something in this don't think, right? So we need a class name. So let's call it class source. Okay. And basically, I'm going to do test driven right now. Remove this test. It must be able to load, create a source instance. So expect don't think dot source new, this is a little small, to be, let's say, compared to something, right? I run this. Okay, so my test is loading properly, right? Don't think to be so I'll define a variable here called source. Some of us already know this quite well, so that new here, and will be source. This test is really simple. An instance of don't think. So that's quite silly, right? This first test. Now, what's happening? Compare to b to equal. I'm not sure if this is called instance. Do you know? Does anyone know like rspec instance of? An instance of, right? Any instance. No, it's like something like to be a string, for example. So not any instant of. It's okay. This is not a useful test. So next one, I actually want source.path
It's
to be okay, that's fine, right? Be okay. So this is cool. I don't have to go anywhere. I have this passing, right? Next, I know that I have a module that's correct. So expect to this, it must return a path. So this is getting cool actually. So we say source.path. This is the path of the file that I'm loading into my memory to spit the sentence out. So to equal a string. So I want this string to be maybe in my data path slash source.txt. Right? So I save this file and it fails. But to make this pass, it's simple. I go to don'tthink.rb, define a path here. Let's say file. So here's the syntax if you want to use the path from the whole project. Data.source.txt. And that's good. So I got the whole thing here. All I care about is to end in this one. So I just do to match. That's okay. Okay, that passes. Now I want, say, content actually must return content. So source content. What is source content? You actually read the file, right? So actually source.content to maybe here will be we actually to say to include a sentence that we want. So what is this one? Say this one has to exist. Let's make so the test is gonna fail again because I don't have a content. Let's make this work. So def content. It's quite easy. Just read that file. Yeah, but that file doesn't exist, right? So notice each time you get a different test error, but we're gonna make it work. So the next step is what? We create a data folder. A data folder here. Let's save this entire. Text file into this data. You can always add more. So data source.txt. Alright, so that looks good, right? I have the whole poem in here. Great. Now I go back to this file and I save it again. Look, it passes. Cool, right? So next, I want to be able to return a sentence. So here, let's have sentences. But I'm going to test more. So this is when you test a method, you do this, an instance method, right? If you test a class method, you do this dot. But we're testing an instant method. Let's say I have a sentences method, and it should basically return all the sentences. Okay, so expect source dot sentences. You can be like to be an array, right? Be a array. And now it fails because I don't have this method. So let's include it. How do I have this? Can anyone guess?
Split.
Yeah, split. Excellent. So we actually just gonna split by the new line characters.
Yeah.
Hey, cool. So these are, I have the sentences, but that's not enough. I'm gonna do size. Maybe I don't know how many sentences I have in there. And it say, oh, to be so just to equal random ASD. I have 47 sentences in this poem, right? So unless I change the data file, this is always 47, right? So I'm making sure it's almost like you have an IDE that protect your project. Right now, if you make changes elsewhere, this will fail. Okay, well that's good. But again, I'm testing a sentences, so maybe it should not include empty sentences. So we have to prevent this from happening. So maybe, how do I test this? Expect source dot sentences length. This is an array of sentences. So I will find empty sentences, empty, to be, you actually do a find, which is the same as actually select, find more than one, find just one, and then, so each sentence I return if this is empty or this is nil. In Rails you have s dot blank, but I don't have it here. It's inactive support. If you want it, you can use that gem. It's okay, like it's clear enough. And then I expect this to be an empty array. Hey, look at that, right? By doing test driven, I found all the bad ones. So how can I make this method work better? Let's just, in Ruby, I think you can do this, right? Compact this. Is it compact or no? You can't compact this because you can when you do compact, it removes the nil element. Here, you have to remove the empty element. So how? We just have to do reject each sentence sentence.empty or sentence.nil. Right? We reject this. So that's good. See, this test passed, but this one failed. So technically, I only have 38 sentences. That's right? Okay. So let's say reading this file it's very time consuming. So what if this one's very time consuming? You want this to only do it once, so you cache it. Okay? So I actually have a method called load sentences. Let's say, for example, in real life, this is very time consuming. And here, I call load sentences, but I cache it. Sentences, I cache it to this variable. So this should still work, right? You can actually add test. It should not parse twice if called twice. So now here you can actually expect this to receive, to call sentence only once. So let's see if I get this right. Expect to receive, right, load sentences once. And then I call source dot sentences. It passes. I call it again. Why is it failing? One time to receive. Charles, like, do you think this makes sense? I'm testing that this is cache, right? You only call load sentences once. Huh? Okay. So here it's actually assigning, like this is empty first, and then and when you do this, it means this whole line mean if sentences is not nil, then don't do anything to it. So I think my test may be wrong, because let's say if I do it 3 times, it should be super fast. But why is it doing it twice? That's a little strange. So we could actually, for example, we can research and see why this happens. But let's move on. Actually, that's cool. Now, actually, we need a. This is fine. I think no, I don't think to receive only once. Yeah, not sure. Actually, it should work, but maybe the aspect syntax is like aspect expect receive once.
But also purpose.
Right. To receive count should receive. No, this is really old aspect 2. We want aspect 3. Isn't it so terrible? It has like all the old ones in there. Okay. So it's very similar. expect something to receive one. So there's something wrong in the code. Maybe the name of the methods and the instance variable. So, you know what? I'm just gonna. I don't know if I can trust the let guy, so I just declare this over here. What is it called? Don't think. By the way, if you don't want this, don't want this to do this the whole time, you can use source. Then you have to put module up here, right? Don't think, but just be specific. Okay. 2 times. One with any arguments, and then that's so strange. It's like this is. I think it looks right. So that's why I mean this test is just for performance, right? Test and all of that. So all right, next one. We actually want the output here. So I call random sentence. One more time. How do we display the random sentence? Sentences dot sample. So what test can I have? Actually, I shouldn't put this method here first. Remember, we are doing test driven. So I describe sentence, what's that? Random sentence. Okay, expect source dot random sentence. What can you test here? So usually I like to do this, right? I just equal anything just to see what it is. So obviously it fails the first time. So I implement this method. Something is, I need to do first. It has to be what? Exists. Okay. Great. Cao sang hết ổn, tham gia hết nghèo. Okay, fine. How do I test this? What other, to be a string? That's lame, I can also maybe say to not be empty. This is cooler. Be a lookback poem sentence. What is a lookback sentence? Expect 6 or 8 characters to what? To include my source.random sentence dot how many words? Is there a thing to split by words? So maybe you can split by non-word characters. Right? Let's do that. Oh, if I do that, it will, because this is Unicode, so actually with Unicode, I think you can do this. Well, so it's non-word, so I need to somehow negate this, but I don't know how. With Unicode, you can do word. So anyway, that's okay. We split by space. And we need to do size, right? Yeah, okay, so guarantee now. I have a gem that every time I say something is one of the sentence from the poem. Sounds good? Alright, so let's commit this, right? Say it works. Okay, so but now I want a binary thing to be able to say don't think, and then it will work. So let's try that. Let's look at this file. This will be your friend when you build a gem. This is very simple. We all know this. If sometimes you have more than one author, all of this is an array. So you see that. Summary. This is cooler. Look at this one. These are the files in the gem, and it's clever. Does anyone know what this backtick is? Does anyone know? So let's say it's a Ruby console, right? If I do this, it means I call the bash or the shell command in Ruby, and I pass back the string. So where I am, you can say who am I here, and it's give you that, right? Of course, it's because it called this and then return back to the terminal. So here it uses git to list the files to include in the gem. So it's quite smart. Instead of making you listing the files, it say, oh, let me figure it out from your git. So that's okay, right? It say, hey, look at this. It also reject all the files that are in test spec, your test files. So that's very clever. It only load that. Oh, bin dir. So what is bin? Bin. What is bin? Binary, right? It say, well, what is that? Executables. So one way I can just say, I want an executable that's called don't think, right? And then I will put the file somewhere. It actually will look into this exe file folder, but I don't have to do it because this is also the same thing. Spec here means this config, right? It say get all the files and then find the files in the exe folder. No problem. Create an exe folder and oops, let's create that file. Let's create that file. Exe folder. What's the file? Don't think. Okay, so it has to be a bash script. Does anyone know how to run Ruby in bash? Shebang, user, bin. So you can do this. It means this env guys, and then we'll find where Ruby is. Because another way you have to find where Ruby is and put this Ruby into that file. So that's where it is, and then we're gonna require the gem. So this is don't think gem, right? And we're gonna run it. So how do we run that? Does anyone remember? It's a Ruby file. Don't think source.new.random sentence, right? Does that seem okay? I have to print it out to the terminal. Okay, so that's a. Right now it doesn't work because it doesn't know what Ruby this don't thing is. Okay, sounds good. Now, before I publish this show you that this binary works, let's look at this this guy. When you run a project with bundle, right? You have a gem file. You have this thing called bundle console. Can someone guess what it is? What's bundle console? It's just like IRB, right? Right? What's the difference? You have Rails console. It's more than IRB. It's IRB with the Rails environment. When you do bundle console, you have this code loaded for you. So you can do don't think. You can test in the terminal. Don't think source.new. What? Random sentence. See if it works. Oh, see? If you don't want to write test, you have to test it this way, right? But earlier, we were doing test driven. When you write a gem, you do test driven. You can actually be very fast. So see, I already write code that works immediately the first time I test it, right? So that's cool. I can keep saying it. I have the whole, I can have the whole poem. So it makes sense that if this binary file, if I include this, it will work. Okay. Here's another way to run it. You can run Ruby, and then you can load a library, and then you can load the lib folder. And then I think basically could be IRB, load the lib folder, I think, and it will load that. This is one of those. And then here's another cool one. Here's another cool one. Look at this script, right? You can do bundle console, but in the newer version, bundle give you a more advanced version, bin/console. So it's almost like bundle console, but you can do more things. The same. You can do don't think source.new random sentence. It will work. But you see, you can do more things here. You can do like loading. You can set up more variables in here, and then it run the console. Right? So bin/console, loading. You can also clean up your data after you play with the console. Cleaning. Sometimes you need that, right? So bin console is cool. right? But it's only when you are developing the gem it's useful there. When you publish this gem, we only give the user this. User can load this lib folder, and the user can run the this executable file from the command line. Yeah. How do I run this file now? Let's go back to rake. So if you do just rake, the default task of rake is rake spec. It means it runs the test. Next, that's the one that just run. So we do rake build. Okay. When you do rake build, it create a gem file, so it bundle everything into a gem file. What did I do? Okay, and it put it in the package. Okay, fine. You know, when you install, this is just like, I think it's, you know, it's an archive file of your code, right? So next, when you build, after you build, you can actually install. So right now, if I do random, if I do IRB here, require random, no, I mean, don't think. Does it work? No, I haven't installed this gem yet. So, but if I rake install, it built, and then it loads this gem file, .gem file. Come on, why is it so slow? Yay, this file is installed. So try again. Let's try IRB, require, don't think. Oh my god, it loads. And now you can actually do the same thing that we just did. Don't think, blah, blah, blah. It means I can actually run this file in exe folder. What is the file that I have? Don't think. Do you think I can press enter and it works? Yeah? Why does it not work? You have to make it executable. You know, see how this is red? Yeah? Because there's an X over here, X over here. It means in this exe, I want to make it executable. So change mod plus X. If this one plus X for you, then user plus X. So exe slash don't think. Great. Now I can run libs. Exe slash don't think. Enter. And that is completely now, you just built a command line application. Right? But that's not cool enough. I want to use it everywhere. So how do I use it everywhere? Rake. Here's actually an important part. To build this executable, you have to add it to the Git repository. Notice how here it tried to find the files from there. I want to be dry. I want it to be smart. I can actually tell it to say use don't think executable, but that's not smart, right? This is smart. But gotcha. You have to add it. So I'll just add. I'll say add don't think binary. Just executable. Great. I'm ready. I'm building. I am installing. When you install it, put it in your gem environment. If you do gem list, you will see that file don't think up there, right? Gem list grab don't think. It's there. Now I want you to be able to run it. Are you ready? So rake release. Let's look at the task again. Rake release. No, release. So it doesn't know where to release my file to. Is it bundle release? I need to check real quick. All right, bundle build gem release using bundle. Maybe this one. So build, and how do I release it? Does anyone know? Rake release remote. Okay, rake. Yeah? Right. It should be pushing to Ruby gems. So I think this person is having the same problem. Great. So gem push. Okay, so it say use gem push. And then what? I need to push this package file, right? That's kind of weird. Pushing. Okay. So I'm trying to push to this gem, which only allows my gem server dot what? Okay. Let's try to figure this out. Cannot release gem. So when you release the gems, it should be up here. Ruby gems. This is, if you go to any gem, it's hosted here. And the reason it's there is that in your gem file, see, source, when you do bundle install, it just load everything from here. So let's see if don't think exists. If it exists, you cannot use it. Yeah. Oh yes, it will be mine. Right. So let's push this guy. How this is removing it. How do I release a gem?
I think it's gem release.
Gem release?
That works.
I just did gem push, but so say here.
Gem build.
So why is Rake not working? This is what I did in the past.
Yeah, that's true.
You see, it's releasing to Ruby gem. Release.
Maybe you need to have a GitHub somewhere.
Really sorry guys, don't know how this happens. I have a few gems. I've released quite a few, so it should work. Not sure. Can Ruby gem tell me how to? Let's log in.
I think you need gem push package / blah blah blah.
So that's what I did earlier too. Gem push. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says something like I cannot push it to this guy. I think it's trying to push to this source.
Open gem, and you open gem spec.
Open gem spec.
Open the gem spec again.
Okay.
So you have my views.
Oh, allow push here. Or prevent pushing this gem by setting. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jesus! So this gem actually. Oh, you see that? It delete this section to allow pushing this gem. Oh my God, I'm just like seriously. Okay, gem push. Does it work? Is not allow set to. Oh, do I have to set it? Yeah. Oh yes, you have to build again. Right, build. Break release. I think release. Oh, because you have unchanged. So update gem spec. Break release. Okay, not sure. Rec build. Build is enough, and then we do gem push. Yes. Yes. So now from your computer, if you just do gem install, don't think, and then try it, and it will run.
Wow.
Yay! It's like publishing a website, but it's from the command line.
Yeah.
Of course, from your library, right? You can always include in your project. Go to gem file, right? And then here you do gem, don't think, and then in your code, you just call that, right? You can you can call don't think :source.new. Yeah? Okay, so with that, we at 9 o'clock. So let's revisit the notes a little bit because you guys were late, so I'm gonna keep you for another 5 minutes. So let's see. So this is actually the first time we did the Ruby course, and I know initially the homework's really hard. The homework 2 and 3, a lot of hours. So when we look into that, we've been improving our lectures of 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look on my YouTube, you actually see some lecture notes of the old ones being updated because we're still improving the old ones. So that's it. We cover a lot. We wish we could have covered more on just how to debug things in general, but that's very hard to teach. It's more like if you run into problems, right? We love to troubleshoot that with you. Otherwise, we have to think of a buggy application and then show you. It takes time. And then background workers, some of you already try it, so it should be straightforward. But pick one and get better and better. Don't try like everything, right? But this is at least Sucker Punch like interesting because for email you don't need anything else. You just include it and it can run the job by creating another thread without using a database. Anything else need to store your job in the background and have the worker run it. It gets even more difficult when you deploy to a different server. But this is not good for production. Right? If you have a demo app, it's okay. If you have a real app, right, you don't want jobs to be lost. Search is another cool thing. It's just worth saying that, you may read the Elasticsearch, Phoenix, and all these things. All they do is that you include Ruby script and then save these texts into another database that is better for text search. Now, in many cases, you can actually it's good enough to build full text search with PostgreSQL. So PostgreSQL is like the most now popular and advanced, and they have like continuous development in relational database system. So in the past, MySQL was a little bit more mainstream, but it looks like ever since Heroku and many places, people love Postgres now. You can store map data like longitude, latitude in it. You can store JSON. You can store JSON in two formats. JSON format, it's just text, but it understands the structure. When you load it in Rails, boom, you have a JSON structure. You can also store in BJSON, which is binary. It's more efficient, right? And then when it will be even faster when you search, do a full text search or deep link search into that JSON file. But of course, that requires learning a little bit more about Postgres. Some of you came to the data talk. He's, what's his name? Shola? Or he said, Postgres is probably good enough. Like, you don't have to go and NoSQL and go a lot of crazy many things. That said, some of you may go to MongoDB, and it's very clean for an app as well. So you don't have to do migration, and so sometimes you may like that. Active Record works very well with that. You can use Data Mapper. I think, does Active Record work with MongoDB?
Something called Mongoid.
Yeah, with Mongoid. Okay, so keep thinking about these areas of learning, right? You guys will keep building more projects. Some of you use it in the company. You learn more tools, test integration, deployment. But we're here, we have this community. Just keep asking all this Ruby question. It's a lot of magic, but once we understand, it's very, very, very convenient. When you start coding in another framework, you're like, I wish they have this, so I don't have to think. So, any question on?
So we can continue asking after we finish the outcome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can we can they keep asking questions after finishing the course?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you graduate, yes. That is next week. So no, then you become our alumni, and of course you also can help others because you've been through all the difficult things. So
One of our students from my last class keeps asking me questions about Node.js. Actually, so keeps
Yeah.
asking about Node.js.
nice,
Of course, we love to help.
right? Yeah. So the notes are here. I decided not to just
Wait,
try.
That's a good
Yeah.
segue though. Like, what should you do after the class, Harley? What happens after the class?
Let's go drinking.
Yeah, we should get some snails.
Snails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. This week. When is a good day? Friday? Sunday? Tomorrow?
Friday, good.
Friday. Because Sunday you actually prepare for Monday. Friday evening, maybe. Oh shit! I can't. I'm sorry. It's on tape. Let me pause this.